a lot of Europeans aren't quite aware of how American and European capitalism differs. So European capitalism, especially the one that's called Rhinian, after the river Rhine, that is the border between France and Germany. In European capitalism, we usually tend to value all the stakeholders. So stakeholders are everybody that has an interest, that has a stake. That's why it's called stakeholder in the organization. So it means the shareholders, it means the employees, it means the environment, it means the state, and so on, right? And you can make a long list of people that are more or less important as stakeholders, but there's a lot of interests that are interested in the corporation, right? Because whatever the corporation does influences them. In the United States, there's more the supremacy of the shareholder, right? You might have heard shareholder value, meaning that while all the others are also recognized, the shareholders reign supreme, and so whatever satisfies them is being put at a premium. So this is really interesting, because what this does to American capitalism, in my mind, especially to American corporations, is two things. And this is a very limited view, but this is something that I see all the time. And so one is, it really keeps American managers on their toes, right? They constantly have to see how they're improving their numbers, because the shareholders exert a lot of pressure. And it's very simple pressure in the sense that it's easy to see how much wealth is generated by increasing the stock price, or by shelling out dividends, by stock buybacks, and so on, right? So there's a lot of direct pressure on a couple of KPIs, on a couple of numbers, and so it keeps American managers on their toes. Whereas in European capitalism, and again, I'm talking about Rhinian capitalism, I'm not talking so much about UK capitalism, which is more like the American one. But in European capitalism, everything can be a little bit sleepy because the pressure isn't there. So that's one thing that I really like about the American style capitalism. However, one thing I truly dislike, and I think a lot of people are experiencing that, is it seems to be almost like American capitalism always has to destroy everything. Meaning, if you go to Boston and try to get a hotel room in a somewhat decent hotel, don't be surprised that you're suddenly having to pay $400, right? Don't be surprised that after having to pay $400 per night, you're also asked to pay for the Wi-Fi extra, right? It's a ludicrous idea for most Europeans. And so you've probably encountered this in social media, where people are complaining about the prices of Disneyland, and they are really crazy. And this is, in my mind, what a lot of corporations do. Think about your Netflix subscription, think about your Amazon Prime subscription. You're being told something, you're being sold something for a cheap price, and then the prices increase, and suddenly the ad-free media has ads in them after all, even though you're paying for ad-free media, and so on. And so what happens, it seems like the capitalism is almost eating itself. It's turning in on itself, whereas European capitalism, in my mind, at least in my perception, is a lot more stable, because people provide a service. Yes, the corporations make handsome profits, yes, but they are also responsible to more than just the shareholders, which makes for a more balanced approach. And I don't think we need to hide, right? I think we can be very proud of the capitalism that we have in Europe. Yes, of course, we need to get rid of all this extra bureaucracy that we don't need. But in general, having this more holistic approach to things, making sure the shareholders get their share of the company, they are financing the stuff, they are owning the stuff, they might have founded this stuff, right? But also looking at other things and not just eating ourselves up just to create more profits and dividends for the shareholders.